Apple executive, kids with Chromebooks are not going to succeed.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
Well, it's a bit rough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's out of context. But it does seem a bit harsh. Phil Schiller, head of marketing at Apple, says that if you want a kid to succeed in school, they should use an iPad. As you would.
Course, yeah.
As you would if you were an executive at Apple. You'd probably say that. He's mad at Google, mad at Chromebooks. Some people are mad at Chromebooks, Will, because it kind of acts as your entry point into the greater Google universe. They hook you when you're young. Oh, I bet you need a Gmail. Can we help you with some docs? Yeah. You open up the coat. Got any docs?
Ugh.
Need some docs? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You open up the
they
coat.
rope you in with the.
But what's weird about that criticism is what other services are you going to use and who's doing a good job of it? How about Apple goes out and makes those services for us, and then you're not, because the problem is, even with an iPad, these kids are probably still going to end up in Google Docs for their school stuff, because the school needs some sort of formula, some sort of utilities and resources, and schools don't have unlimited funds. So Google makes it easy for them to have the utilities that they need. Can you imagine the Microsoft equivalent once upon a time, all the licenses and Word? You remember that? We had to do that. We had to have all those. But today, imagine spending that kind of money on those services when Google's going to offer it up the way they do with the convenience they have.
Yeah, the PowerPoints and the Word, Excel.
It gets crazy. I don't know what Office is doing these days. I suppose there's some kind of subscription. Maybe they give a break to schools. They probably have something to compete. But in my experience, it seems to be that in these types of scenarios, it's going to be Google Docs. All right? In my limited exposure, that's what I've seen. And then once you've made that decision, then how do you really criticize the Chromebook specifically? Because the Chromebook is just a gateway into those services. And I don't think kids would be against the idea of using an iPad. I think they'd love to have an iPad, particularly an iPad Pro with all those accessories and stuff. But you got to remember, at that stage, cost is such a big feature.
Yes.
That's the entry point. That's the thing that gets considered greatly, particularly if you're going to across an entire school board or something. Chromebooks, $200.
Right.
Probably starting even lower than that. And an iPad Pro with a keyboard case, $1,200.
Yeah.
So it's really an unfair comparison, to be honest, and a bit inconsiderate, I guess. But obviously, I understand where he's coming from. He's saying, here's his case to be made. The iPad is an inspirational product. It'll inspire you. Will, why are you smirking like that, Will?
I'm saying, like, why don't he put his mouth where his money is?
Easy. Whoa.
Be like, hey, man, just subsidize.
First, you're in the mirror yelling at Motorola. Now you're telling Phil Schiller to put his money where his mouth is?
Trying to make movements here.
Willie just fired up today.
He should just subsidize, like, massively.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure Apple does stuff like that.
Then why complain then?
Yeah, I'm sure Apple does a certain amount of that, but I don't know across the board, across the world, that they could have as big of an impact as just a low-cost Chromebook. That's disruptive. That, no matter where you go, has inserted itself into the ecosystem now because it's useful, especially for different areas that are cost-strapped and they just need a quick solution, and they can't send an email to Phil Schiller like Willie Doo can. Flexing.
I guess I'll talk to him then.
You might have to talk to him, Will. But I hear where he's coming from. I just want to make sure I cover both sides of it here. He's saying that Chromebooks are kind of boring and frumpy, particularly at the low price point, and they don't get people excited about technology specifically. If you play with a new iPad Pro, it feels futuristic. You're drawing. Maybe you download some creative apps, music production app I was goofing with. It does feel in a way you could understand the inspirational component that he's making the case for, saying kids should have iPads because it's less of a traditional mindset around computers.
Yes.
That you're typing and that's the only thing you can do, and you just got to get into docs.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to represent his side of it.
No, I get it. iPads are mainly representative for like creatives. Right?
See?
Yeah, there's so many apps.
I'm just trying to cover the other side of it.
Totally.
But maybe this is one area where we can go to the audience. I'm sure there's somebody in the audience who has been in a school environment, school board, works for a school or something. They're going to be able to tell you better than anyone else why the Chromebook and the Google stuff is what it is in that environment. So let us know in the comments.